Good morning to one and all, and many thanks to Mr. Daniel and team.
Morning, sir.
Good morning for inviting me to this address this wonderful audience. I think I feared somewhere like while giving the introduction, the total session will be completed, right?
It's so
So
brief, sir.
thanks a lot.
Thanks. Still,
Thanks a
so
lot
many
for
things
the
are there,
nice
sir.
introduction. Yeah. So when it comes to this topic today, it is all about overview of research methodology. While talking about research methodology, I'm very happy because just 3 weeks before I was addressing on this topic to my research scholars. I think life is full of accidental incidents and incidental accidents. So this incidental accident happened 3 weeks before when I was talking to my research scholars. First of all, let me check because in online learning it is very important that am I audible?
Yes, professor.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you. Yes. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So, online learning, in fact, from last 3 months, even I have been attending a lot of webinars. I'm addressing a lot of people across India and across the globe. Online learning has advantages. Let us talk about one advantage today. I am before you because of online learning, right? So, otherwise, it would not have been possible. So, thanks to COVID 19, even amidst crisis, it is making every one of us to learn together. So when it comes to accidental incident I was quoting about, 3 weeks before I was talking about this research methodology to my own research scholars. Yesterday while sitting for thinking about today's seminar, I just made a con call to all my students. I made a conference call to all my research scholars and I have asked their opinion. What I exactly have to tell tomorrow to the students, or I don't know, I think in the audience we have students as well as some doctorates. So what exactly as an audience you are expecting in tomorrow's talk? My research scholars have shared a whole lot of things, right? So I may not be in a position to cover all of them in the 40 minutes, but after listening to my research scholars, usually I brought one slide which I want to show with you in 1 second. I'll give time for you to ask questions also. I'm happy to take questions because wherever I go, I love to take questions. Right, that MS Word, let it do its work. Meanwhile, let me talk, I'll continue. So, research methodology is something where every researcher wants to peep into it, right? And this is what exactly I showed to my students 3 weeks before. This is what I want to show to all of you after listening to my students yesterday. It's funny, right? Because research methodology means you are expecting some kind of data, right? Pouring into the slides. This is what you have to do. This is what you are not supposed to do. But let us look it from a different perspective. Yesterday, when I was talking to my research scholar, one of the research scholar is in this audience also, I suppose. I have seen this kind of enthusiasm in the minds of students, right? So actually everybody peeps into the camera and they want to see the nature, but only scientist, only the thinker, only the enthusiastic student, the ever passionate learner wants to look like this, right? Because they want to know what exactly which is giving us the scope to look into it. If you want to do a proper research, this is the first point. Without enthusiasm, nothing happens. So what kind of enthusiasm is required to have a very good research methodology of your own? This kind of enthusiasm is required where the research scholar should be driven not just with the necessity of doing a research for 4 years, 6 years or 7 years, but necessarily with the kind of passion towards research. When I was talking about research 7 years before with a gentleman, they gave a different definition for research to me. I was very alarmed with the definition like, sir, research, no sir, research. Once again, you Google search. That's it. You Google search some information, you collect some information, you dump into some papers, get some papers, submit some document of 100 pages, 120 pages. In that way also we can get research, sir. My dear research scholars, my dear students, my dear budding engineers, please don't go with this kind of definitions. Research is not again research. It is not researching something else. It is a passion driven academic entity which takes to the scholar who is doing or involved in the research is expected to exhibit highest level of intellectual performance, not only in the data that they are producing but also in the character with which they are living. So what should be the driven parameter for a research? The driven parameter for the research is this kind of enthusiasm that our ancestor, in fact monkey is our ancestor, right? Man has been inherited from monkeys, so nothing wrong in taking about this. So this is where exactly we have the enthusiasm level. Now let us get fine. So we have a different perspective here when it comes to research methodology. The different perspective is these are the 4 things that I am going to show you which are very, very necessary for a research scholar or in a research methodology. One is, of course, the world's known scientist Albert Einstein. He always emphasized on imagination. Imagination means thinking about. Always I believe like a lab in a mind, and a mind is a laboratory. So your mind is your own laboratory. You need not search here and there. In fact, when I was listening day before yesterday to one IIT Delhi director, Professor Venugopal Rao, he was also exactly talking like this. In COVID-19 crisis, we are not having access to our laboratories. That means we are not having our free will to go to any laboratory and work out there. But still, we have the path shown by Mr. Albert Einstein. The path is imagination. So imagination is the second ingredient which is required for a proper research methodology towards any problem. Yesterday when I was talking to my research scholar, somebody asked this question like, sir, what is the difference between method and methodology? I was talking to them, methodology is a science, method can be a technique. So methodology is a holistic parameter, it's a very, very holistic phenomena. So methodology requires imagination as a second ingredient. First ingredient is enthusiasm. The second ingredient for an individual, for a proper research scholar involved in a research, is the imagination, just like Albert Einstein have showed to the world. It is the highest form of research. It is thinking, making hypothesis. I'll come back to this hypothesis parameter after 1 or 2 slides. Coming to the next one, sorry. I am showing an individual who is Colonel Dr. JPR, a founder chancellor of Satyabama Institute of Science and Technology. With the permission of organizers, I just want to put a word. Can I talk, sir? Daniel, sir, for a half second?
Yes, sir. You can go ahead, sir. He is from my native place only, sir. Kanyakumari.
Yeah, sir. Yeah. Colonel Dr. JPR, you can see that there is a word which I have written there. Sir, in which way research methodology is related to Colonel Dr. JPR? The answer I have given in the slide itself, vision. Sir, why you have to talk about this gentleman in the mid of this talk? Today is Colonel Dr. JPR's past demise date, and is a great individual, great entrepreneur who has given vision of education to this part of India. So today's lecture in fact is a tribute to this great gentleman whose vision is so clear, that kind of process. So what is the third parameter that a research scholar should consist of? A proper vision, a clear vision. Like first it should be in a broader way. When you are heading towards your research, the research should be very, very specific or narrower. In fact, in my next slide, I am going to show you how exactly the research should carry out. So first parameter is enthusiasm. The second parameter is imagination. The third one is vision, which philanthropists like these individuals possess and lived in this world. And the third one is very, very interesting. Balance. So world has seen different kinds of revolutions, industry revolutions. One such revolution from last one decade is this revolution. The revolution is all about balancing between the progress, the industry progress, and environmental protection. So these two should be mitigated. See, today everywhere the pollution meter levels are down. Delhi is breathing very happily, right? So everywhere in Italy, Venice, everywhere the nature has come back. The reason is man disappeared and nature has come back because man forgot to maintain the balance between the progress and the nature. So your research should be always progressive in maintaining or striking the balance between the kind of intelligence that you are putting into the research. By taking care into the environmental perspectives, you should not be a threat to the environment. Today world is living with fear, locking inside the homes because of one mad research that has been done in a laboratory. So this is exactly the tragedy if you don't strike the balance between the research as well as the nature that comes to the humanity. So this is very, very important. A huge responsibility is there on the in which they are going to do their research. And the fourth quadrant, it looks like for me trigonometric quadrant, like all sine, cos, secant, tan, that quadrant, right? The last quadrant is always joyful. Why it is always joyful? Because it gives you the result. It completes the 360 degrees. So what is being said in that slide is not important. The essence is the research scholar should move with the joy of discovering. It is not with the intention of winning some hearts, winning the prize of a supervisor, or getting some kind of laurels from the institution. Never go with this kind of mentality. When you are in a research methodology, when you are taking a method of doing your own research, you have to live with joy of doing this research. So automatically everything comes. As somebody told Harsha Bhogle when he was giving a commentary to Sachin Tendulkar's batting one day, he told that he is a man of destiny, right? He is a man of destiny, everything falls in place for him. So like that, everything falls in place for the person who does his research with joy, with all the parameters which we have discussed till now, so that you will end up with a very, very nice product. So all these are very, very crucial parameters that are involved in developing the character of a research scholar while doing the research. It's very, very important. See, engineering will give you the technique. You will follow the technique, you will get some results. But to talk about the results for years together, but to celebrate your research and share with everybody, you would have done with all these parameters while you are a research scholar. It's so, so important. When I say research, it is not just PhD program, even for MTech project, even for any kind of passion-driven learning, these are the parameters which are very, very necessary. So I promise you that I will show you the proper research methodology slide, right? It is where it or when you are going down, it is very, very narrower. So when you start your research, normally your literature survey will be very, very exhaustive, very exhaustive. Perhaps you may years of papers, research papers, 20 years of research papers. But when you are slowly passing through your research, when I show this, maybe your comprehensive Viva meeting, maybe your synopsis meeting, and finally for your Viva OC examination, you are contributing to a smaller drop to this ocean of research community. Remember that whatever you have done from last 4 years, 5 years is going to yield a smaller infinitesimal contribution to the research community. That means never take the success to the head, because research is a continuous phenomena. Very funnily, what all are the things you cannot do in a research work we will propose in future work. In the last slide of our Viva OC presentation, these are my failures. I could not able to do these many works, and my fellow research scholars can take these works and move forward and continue the process of research. So research methodology never ends with a Viva OC presentation. It's continuous. just like everybody is contributing to a single drop of this wonderful ocean. So finally, what I going to say here about research methodology, initially it looks very, very fuzzy. Always research scholars ask the question to supervisors, sir, I don't know how to go forward. Sir, I don't know, everything looks similar. Sir, I have a feeling like everybody has done everything. What should I do further? Sir, whether this problem what we have taken is potential or not, right? Whether it gives you result or not, whether somebody would have done these kind of results or not. So n number of gamut of questions will be there. Your mind will be like a pandemonium, right? A thousand and 10,000 neurons, very, very highly complicatedly linked. In that way, your thoughts will be there. But when you slowly proceed into your research with enthusiasm, passion, as well as vision, and then the kind of methodology what we have told, our joy, definitely, and by balancing every parameter linked with the research, definitely the clarity gets open to you. At some point of time, your supervisor's job becomes very, very small, very tiny. Then and there they will say that, okay, what you are doing is correct. So this has got a lot of parameters: writing research papers, proposing models, writing research proposals, project proposals. Whole sum of things are involved in going forward in a research work. But in the starting, everything looks complex, broadened, fuzzy, ambiguity. But when you are going through the research work with the help of a proper supervisor, definitely the clouds will be opened up and you have a very good clarity of where you are heading to, and you know your difficulties, you know your challenges, you know what you are going to propose to the world and the future works, everything will be crystal clear. But to do this, that is why I said very, very important. When I started my presentation, some of you might have thought, what this guy is talking all about? I want to listen a technical presentation, I have got something which is non-technical. Non-technical things will play a greater role in doing a perfect technical work. So that is why I have discussed about those points. This is where you end up with your research when you follow a proper research methodology. Research methodology is not doing some statistical mathematical problems. Unfortunately, most of the universities' research methodology paper contains a kind of QT syllabus. My appeal to all the institutions, QT is very, very essential. Qualitative research is very, very essential. But beyond that, you also think about extending the philosophy of research into research methodology curriculum. It is not just mathematics. Beyond mathematics, you have science. Yesterday in a newspaper also they were writing, total COVID-19 approach is mathematics, but there is no science. Science is disappearing. Science is the major thing and mathematics is just the language of science. So research methodology paper should contain more about philosophy of doing research and less about mathematics. This is the takeaway for all the educationalists who are listening this seminar. So when it comes to this is very, very funny. I think we are going to end up our presentation very soon because I want more questions from you. The questions will give you the more answers rather than just listening to a broadcast. So this is how properly generally research takes place in these two directions. These are the possible directions. Sir, what is there, sir, in this? There are some pebbles which are there one upon the other. Yes, they look like pebbles only. But if you're so keen in your observation, because the other important parameter is observation. When apple is falling down, Isaac Newton observed. So you got gravity. When something is happening, when there is a time difference, Einstein has thought about it, observed the time difference. He proposed theory of relativity. Stephen Hawking observed whether this universe is expanding or contracting. He suggested unified theory or string theory. So everything is observation here. So you observe this, you will find out two different methodologies of research. I'll give you half second. Just for fun, you look at it. Why this slide is linked to research methodology, how it can be linked. You just throw your thought to this. Just half second. Yes. So we have two things here. So someone of you may be thinking this side we have 4 stones that side we have some other stones. Its number is not important, as I told you. Here you can see that there is something which has been constructed from bottom to top. And the other answer you know. What is that? Top to bottom. So what are the two different approaches that you can take up in a research? Bottom to top and top to bottom. Sir, just because you have Googled something, you got an image, you brought here, and just you are pushing some information to it. There are two branches of electronics engineering which were developed based on this kind of approach and research. One is bottom to top. What is bottom to top? We are talking about nanotechnology. What is top to bottom? Microelectronics, solid state electronics, or VLSI in nutshell. So we have two different methodologies in electronic science itself, because I generally don't want to use electronics engineering word. First electronic science, then electronics engineering, because engineering is a method of materializing the science or developing a product with the help of science. Science is a fundamental research. Engineering is always the next part of the research, which is action research. Generally, yesterday also I was telling to my research scholars. So we have top to bottom approach, bottom to top approach. You can choose whatever you want. You can start with a fundamental entity, you can develop to a system. You can start at a system level, you dig down, dive deep into the subject, and you find out one small drop, as I was talking about the research in the last slide. So these are the two different methodologies which are unique in the fabric of research. Whatever kind of research across the spectrum you take engineering research, you take science research, you take any kind of development that is happening in research arena, they generally fall into these particular methods or domains. So my dear research scholars, kindly look into this. Keep in which direction your research or your thoughts are polarized into, and go in that direction, because direction is very, very important when you are in a research. So this is my last slide, but there is some information for the students who are so fascinated. Oh, I have listened, the Manuscript Media has arranged a lecture, Mr. Daniel has taken a lot of effort, but that guy came and showed some pictures and went. For those people, I am showing one slide wherein which you have got some data into it, because some people are interested on data. So this is planning research. Nothing is my own. Everything I have taken from Google. So what is very important for a research scholar? To give credit for the things what you have taken, borrowed. You can see in every one of my slide, I have given the reference. Research scholars should take more care about quoting the references. When you are writing a paper also, I think someone would have spoke about how to write a research paper in this series, definitely. So those experts may be talking about that also. In writing a paper, research references are very, very important for the selection of the paper as well as while writing the paper. Always prepare a notes when you are writing a paper. Just like that, you don't go like an extempore speech. You can't produce an extempore writing. You have to plan your writing. Don't ever see a conference or a journal and start writing your research paper. It is a most hazardous way for writing a research paper. First, write a research paper, wait for an appropriate conference, see the conference title, accordingly change your introduction once again. Right? This is very, very important. This point I have taken from recently one Springer research webinar. It's very, very interesting. Your introduction should be written at the last. Your references should be continuous. For namesake from some other paper, don't cut paste here. You will be never producing a good research paper. Your references should be like a journey with you. Every reference should be noted down. A note should be prepared. Then you don't require to check for plagiarism at the end, because every word is of your own. So in planning a research, literature survey takes a lot of vital role. So it starts like this with research questions. So to supervisor, many questions research scholar asks. Then proposal, then propose a research. Literature search, survey or search, whatever it may be, you search. Here also I want to appeal to most of the research scholars as well as to the guides or supervisors. It has become a trend, like in recent past I have been observing in various board of research meetings as well as among the research community, publish a survey paper. They are just infants, baby legs in the research. Some of them are asking or encouraging the research scholars to publish a survey paper. In one way it is good. Nothing is bad in the process of learning. But the ill effects of writing a survey paper in the early age of research is huge. Standard journals like Springer or you take IEEE and all, they generally don't take just like that a survey paper from an infant or from a baby learner, because you should have an exhaustive experience or understanding about the core area of that problem. How can you expect a budding research scholar to have such experience? So a survey paper, please encourage the experts in the field to write, not the early researchers, because early researchers can be maybe having potential to write or read a lot of research, but to have a command on the or expertise on writing on that subject may not be there. So you have to live with the subject for some time to write a research review. Then you have the other parameters, methodology, everything comes. So this is a narrower version. Broader version is the points which I told to you, and there are some related items. Your mathematics comes as a related item here. So I think I'll take 5 more minutes if I have. Mr. Daniel, I have 5 more minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Do
sir.
I
You can
have
go
5
ahead,
more
sir.
minutes?
You can take your own
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Sir. You can take your own time.
No
Sir.
problem. So I have planned a lot of time. I can speak on this topic a lot.
Yeah.
So when it comes to this researchers, I promise you that there is some variety of phenomena happening in research circles now. What is that variety of phenomena is, nature follows a cycle. Mr. Darwin told that nature always follows the cycle. Not only nature, we all belongs to nature. Everything is cyclic. Take about 18th century. Again we take Newton as an example. At the times of Newton, at the time of Galileo's, right, Fick, all these people has observed the nature, and they made a lot of hypotheses, and based on the hypothesis all the theories what you are studying today have emerged. So what is the first generation research concentrated upon? The first generation research concentrated upon only hypothesis, theoretical research, right? So first stage. Second stage of research, or researchers or scientists concentrated on experimenting everything. There is a lot of hypothesis. Newton's, Einstein's have produced a lot of theorems, and somebody has to prove them or somebody have to disprove them. That is the job. In early 19th century, after the First World War, because the necessity driven inventions took place, all the researchers across the globe are busy in developing or inventing some kind of radios, televisions, aeroplanes, everywhere. So second generation research was driven by experiment, and the third generation research is exactly this small circle, right? Broader one is theory, narrower one is producing the product. So I am not talking from this slide, I am talking in other dimension. Broader one is always theory, narrower one is always the end product by applying the proper research method, an engineering method perhaps. But this related one is very, very interesting, my dear friends. This is third generation research. This is the research of early 20th century. Computational scientists, computational mathematicians, like you can say for example Alan Turing, artificial intelligence, who proposed artificial intelligence theorems, right? And today world is talking about artificial intelligence. Already mathematicians spoke long before. We have group method of data handling theorem, GMDH theorem, which is so famous in mathematics. And using GMDH theorem, till recent past, people who are developing about low power consumption techniques in VLSI. It's very funny. Today, whatever fascination the world is having about technology has a strong backup of mathematics. That is why I use the word mathematics is the language of science. You can speak 5 languages, I can speak 7 languages, somebody speaks 10 languages, but science or engineering speaks in only one language, that is mathematics. So the mathematicians played a crucial role in the third generation of the research. But today's research is beyond all these things. Today's research is nature's cyclic process. Thanks to once again the pandemic COVID-19 has pushed the world back to Newton's. Today you don't have access to the research laboratory, right? Today you and me sitting in different places. I am sitting in my home in Perumbakam, Chennai, and this lecture is broadcasted everywhere across the nation. But everybody are able to brainstorm certain things from last 30 minutes, right? We don't have an access to laboratory, but our mind has become the laboratory. That is why I use the phrase like lab in mind, right? Our mind has become the laboratory today. Beyond experimental resources what you have, once again we are becoming Newtons and Einsteins, right? We are in the process of giving lot of hypotheses to the world today. So theoretical research is back into the picture today. That's why I urge and appeal to all the researchers listening to the seminar. Your mind is a very good laboratory. Make use of this time. Without proper thought pattern, never go to your laboratory. Never go to your laboratory. You are wasting time. You see the process called as simulation. What is the advantage of simulation? Before you are going to actual fabrication, before you are going to actual assembling, you do simulation, then emulation. Simulation is nothing but imitating the functionality, right? So today we have to do simulation, everything in mind. Sir, is it possible, sir, just like that you are saying one word and you will be sitting in your home, we'll be just handling, putting our hands on the head for next 1 month in international internship. What this Kishore sir told and went, right? I'll show you an individual, Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking made his mind as a laboratory, produced wonderful theorems to the world, grand theory to the world. I urge and request everybody to go through the book, The Grand Design by Stephen Hawking. You will be awestruck. You will be astonished. Is it so? A human being who is tetraplegic, who is having Parkinson's disease, is able to produce this much information to the scientific information to the world? Is it possible? It's possible because that is the power of hypothesis. That is the power of human mind. My dear researchers, so time has come for every one of us to go back to our mind, which is the natural laboratory. Think about it. Whatever information you have assimilated, you take it very close to your heart and disseminate to many people, as many people as possible, right? People like us come on to these platforms. We have only one thing. We have only one selfishness. The selfishness is disseminating the information to the student community. Dissemination the information to the research community. That is the vision with which we all are living today. There are many good, what you can say, Samaritans who are there in the field of research doing this job consistently, right? So I am time and again I am releasing my videos also in my YouTube channel. Say Hi Kishore. You can follow me there also. You can write to me always an email. This time is very short to talk about the research. I can give you n number of perspectives, n number of dimensions with the same PPTs. If you want, you take the PPT. If you want, another day I will come with the same presentation. I will give you another dimension of research methodology. Thanks a lot, Mr. Daniel and team, for giving the opportunity to speak to these wonderful listeners, right? And now the floor is open to the questions.
Thank you, sir. It was a nice session, very informative one.
Thank you.
I think listeners, you can ask your queries to Professor.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I am Abhishek from third year engineering, sir.
Okay, Mr. Abhishek.
Sir,
yeah.
Sir, can you explain the difference between research article and research journal, sir?
What is that? Can you come again? Research journal and?
Research article.
Article and journal.
Yes, sir.
Okay, article is like set and subset, right? It is like set and subset. Research journal is a combination of many articles, right? In a research journal, you may have 20 articles, 50 articles based on that editor's choice, right? In that research journals, many articles will be there. Technical articles will be there, research articles will be there, invited papers will be there, white papers will be there. So article is a writing. A journal is a composition of such articles. Got my point?
Sir, may I know your YouTube channel, sir?
Say Hi Kishore. It is there in the slide.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
thank you. Any more questions?
Any more questions from the participants?
Okay.
I think
If
in
questions,
yeah,
if questions are not there, I think we have time, no?
yeah, yes, professor.
Yeah, we have time, and I'll provide some research problems to all of you. Okay. If questions are not there, we'll provide some research problems. Meanwhile, let them brainstorm their questions and come back.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, very good. So first research problem is, so everybody asks this question, sir, today, what if you
एक पता
do,
नहीं कहते उन्होंने कहना कि हाँ जी भाई खारो खाली करो मिनट मिनट
uh, there's a crosstalk. This is one
Yeah, yeah.
research topic, right? Crosstalk
Honestly,
also you can work out. One topic, thanks to some crosstalk which has happened, noise is a very, very important topic of research, right? Whether it is electronics communication engineering or any other aspect, any kind of aberration, any kind of error. In fact, in IIT Madras, I remember few years before, one research scholar has been awarded with research for producing a thesis where how you cannot get a result, right? In how many ways you cannot get a result, he has done research in one particular area and a thesis has been awarded. So that means, see, errors also will give you results sometimes. Errors are okay, but it should not turn into failure. Noise is okay. In fact, IEEE definition of noise is, IEEE definition of noise is unwanted energy. But I have changed the noise definition in my classroom to my students. It is unwanted energy at times, because thanks to the person who made the noise today, otherwise we won't discuss the noise, right? So noise is not unwanted always, it is unwanted at times. In fact, I have done research on the noise when it comes to the devices. So one potential area of research is noise or distortion or error. I think somebody is asking the question. We'll take the question and come back.
Yeah.
Oh, fine, these things are okay.
In chat section, there are a lot of appreciations. Like thanks.
Appreciation, okay, I appreciate them. I appreciate them if they ask the question.
Yeah.
Right? So one is noise or error. The other one I'll tell you. Other difficulty when it comes to research methodology, because we have time, we'll discuss this. Fine tuning. See, I became the campaigner of this word fine tuning. This word called as Industry 4.0, right? People spoke about Industry 4.0. It is enough. Let us close the matter there. Industry 4.0 is over by 2020. 2020 before March 23 Industry 4.0. After March 23, after the post-COVID scenario, it is only fine-tuning 5.0. That's all. It is only fine-tuning 5.0 that is going to happen across the research domains. You take sciences, biosciences, you take aeronautics, you take technology, you take medicine, you take law, everywhere fine-tuning is happening. All the old systems are not going to take place or have the potential in future. We have to fine-tune everywhere, right? So fine-tuning 5.0 is going to be the mood of the researchers across the world. I think some question is there. Somebody wants to ask the question?
No, sir. No, sir. You can go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Fine-tuning 5.0. Please, everybody remember, whatever you are doing till today, go and fine-tune it. In the process of research also, go and fine-tune your results. Getting results is very, very important, but fine-tuning the results will help you in defending the Viva voce presentation. Validation of results is important. Sir, I have got results in 2018. I have got results in 2020. I am comparing and presenting a paper. You accept this. We won't accept here. Research community will not accept that kind of work. You have got some research. Compare this research with another research scholar's standard research. Then that is called as validation. When you are comparing your own results, will not come under validation, right? So validation of results is very, very important. When defending your thesis in Viva voce examination, So research scholars, please keep in your mind, starting of the research exhaustive literature survey, ending of the research, validation of the results or fine tuning of the results is very, very important. So this is the second area which I am going to talk about in research methodology. If you have any question, we'll take. Otherwise, I'll take my third point.
Sir, excuse me.
What is the difference between research method and research methodology? I think I told you in the course of my presentation, research method can be a technique. Research methodology is a holistic one. For example, let me tell you, I want to make a cake, right? Now you cannot order the cake in Swiggy or Zomato. No permission, right? So you have to prepare your own cake in your home. If your birthday you have to celebrate. So you decided that I want to prepare a cake. You ask your wife, you ask your mother or sister, how do you prepare? They will tell 2-3 methods, methodologies, right? Methodology of preparing a cake is nothing but taking a flour, getting a cake. Methods may be different. One makes in one way, the other one makes in other way. Methods are techniques to reach the result. Methodology is unique, right? So with flour only you can make cake. With some other powder you cannot make the cake, right? So this is how the methodology is all about. Method is technique, methodology is a holistic phenomena. Sir, should our research be novel or build upon existing research and literature? If it is novel but lacks sufficient literature, would it be accepted? What would be the pros and cons of such research? Very, very good question. Thanks to Mr. Asif Goar. It's in fact a wonderful question. Most of the research scholars have a doubt like, sir, I am doing this research, whether it is the first of its kind. Nobody has done this, right? So it should be first of its kind. Nothing like that. It need not be first of its kind. Every research need not be invention. Then you don't have these many PhDs in the world today, right? UGC is more concerned like PhD degrees are coming like BE degrees now. Fine. So world is, you don't think like every research work will yield you towards invention. It can be an addition to already existing work, right? So the other part of the question is, which should be built upon existing research. Exactly, which should be built upon existing research and literature. Your answer is there in the question itself. That is why supervisor's job is very, very crucial here. Suppose if I belongs to microelectronics, I know what is happening in microelectronics. When I am giving a problem of microelectronics to my research scholar, I know from where I have to give this problem. You got my point? So already first floor of the building is constructed, second floor I am giving to the research scholar. It's a continuation of legacy, right? So always you can do the research in this way, there is nothing wrong, but in the process you have to develop your uniqueness. That is very important. That's very, very important. See, the same research presentation I am telling you, you call me another day, I will give you another way. 365 days, 365 ways I will present this topic with the same slide. Right? Same slide only, no? Same literature, right? But how can you give a different, just like an cone ice cream, a cream coming out of the same cone machine in a different way every day? Passion driven, that is very, very important. My first slide, monkey slide, you remember. Without passion, enthusiasm, the research will not happen. How to decide which research methodology to use in research and which is better one for our, that is the job of supervisor. That is not your headache, gentlemen. That is the job of supervisor. Supervisor has to decide that. Supervisor has to give that polarized thought to the, or infuse that seed into the mind of the. That is the supervisor's job. Supervisor's job is not just to correct the research papers. It is to just guide them, leading from the front, right? You should lead from the front. You should inspire them every time. You should provide the motivational and emotional support beside giving the research methodology to them. Research methodology, as an early researcher, you may not be in a position to decide. Supervisors will definitely help you. Very good supervisors are available in community and you can always take the help of them. Very good question once again. I don't know who is welcome. But sir, that doesn't happen in supervisor. Then God is the best supervisor. Even it has not happened in my case also. I don't want to name it. But God has guided me. Got my point? So invisible energy will guide you. Please think about with enthusiasm if supervisor is not coming to you in your rescue. Alright? I think we are almost 10:50.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Srujan, I'll take your question. Before that, Dr. Deepali Kumari is asking a question.
okay,
Which
sir.
methodology is better to do historical research? Ma'am, excellent question, ma'am. Historical research always based on statistical data, right? It's always based on statistical data. Go with statistical approach. You will be successful. You consult famous historians in India, Ramachandra Guha, and recently in IIC sessions also we have got one research scholar, one good historian. They always bank upon the statistical data, and using statistical approach you can do your research. Mr. Srujan, sorry for interrupting you. You can ask your question.
Sir, as we are a students, we
I'm
are,
also a student. I'm
sir,
also a student. Yes.
sir, we are doing some practical things like studying transistor by doing some practical things like that. Sir, can you suggest anything for studying all electronics things?
My dear friend, Mr. Srujan Abhishek, I roamed 2 years with this question. When I started learning electronics few years before, what is the function of the transistor was my question to my teacher. 2 years I roamed with the question to get the answer. Right? Then I have self-learned. So a very good approach is we create false impressions in the course of learning. While you are proceeding with your learning process, slowly you will come to understand that my earlier assumption is wrong. In fact, transistor invention also has took place. It's an accidental incident. When W.H. Brettin, John Bardeen and William Shockley, when they were working in Bell Labs, they were doing an experiment, crystal properties they are studying. It is not working out. John Bardeen threw this apparatus into the water with anger. Then after some time they took the apparatus back. It started working. The first point contact transistor needs one drop of water, which these people were not aware of. And by God's grace, they got this, and the invention of transistor today we are seeing. So your question is, so you have a transistor. What's your question once again? Sorry, transistor.
Not a transistor, sir. We are we are eagerly studying all the parts. What is the function of this
I'll
thing
tell
like
you,
that?
I'll tell you, you just mail me back with this question. I'll tell you in one simple example. Transistor can be compared with our Indian families. In Indian family, we have father, mother, son, daughter, right? All these four characters are there in transistor. If you are so enthusiastic, write back to me. I'll tell you the secret. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Very good. And there is another question. I have got results for my research in Feb 2020. Thank God you got. Otherwise, in March month you would have struggled. I am done with my write-up and submitted my paper and got published. Congratulations. In this pandemic time, will there be any problem at the time of my PhD? Absolutely no problem. Absolutely no problem. First of all, many congratulations to you. You will get PhD Viva OC examination very soon. That has to be scheduled by your institution. Next 22nd June also we are scheduling in our university through online Viva OC examination for a couple of research scholars. Madam, all the best for your Viva OC. What is difference between historical background and review of literature? More or less both are same only, right? In review of literature, we dig down the history. We don't call it as history. We say like, okay, earlier works of the researchers. More or less same. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Kiran Kumar, right? Soon going to be Dr. Kiran Kumar. I hope that. Yeah, we are at the fag end of our program. I am very, very happy, in fact, because initially what about the survey method and fieldwork in historical research? How to make it more relevant? It's a good question once again. Maybe I may require one session to answer this. But to put it in nutshell, what about the survey method and field work in the historical research? It depends upon, it is domain specific, ma'am. Dr. Deepali ma'am, it is domain specific once again. Not every research requires field work. For example, there is a concept called as SWAM intelligence. Recently I have written one article on that also. SWAM intelligence kind of studies will require field work. Survey is required for everything. Field work is required. It is domain specific. Not every research will ask you field work. You got my point? So these two are two different genres, ma'am. How to make it more relevant means it is within the hands. See, for example, Generally, most of the researches takes place in two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1, we start with a very glim idea of what is the final outcome. When you are approaching to the phase 2 only, you will have more clarity, right? Initially, your phase 1 may support you with survey methods, but when you are going to phase 2, your field work, if it demands, your field work comes into support. So your survey method and field work are in hand, like phase 1 and phase 2. I think I have answered. Sir, please give your email. My email is there. My official email ID is there. Phone number, it's okay, 9043536557. 9043536557. Right? Any more questions? Thank you, ma'am. But I am so thankful to Mr. Daniel and team. You have given an interface to me to the different interesting and aspiring researchers and some students. Mr. Srujan and many others have asked so many questions.
Sir, there is a question like Rekha Ilavalaga.
Even if we do research methodology as per the guide or supervisor goes into not relevant, what is the solution? Ma'am, Miss Rekha ma'am, I am a victim of this, right? I am a victim of this. I am talking about research a lot with you, but I have not written my thesis according to my whims and fancies. I was handicapped, right, with this kind of problem only. Let me go again with this question. Even if we do research methodology as per the guide of supervisor, goes into irrelevant. If it is not relevant, you have to sit back and discuss with supervisor. Supervisor is like a temporary life partner. You have to live with, no other way. But see, before you are going for a marriage, you will see many things and you do marriage, may success or failure. Right? Supervisor also same case only. We cannot expect every supervisor to behave in the same way. You have to adjust with the supervisor. You have to go in line with the supervisor. Then only you will get the smooth journey. Right? Supervisor is very, very important in the research. So if it is irrelevant, you should sit back to your research supervisor, convince them and go along with their guidelines, because supervisor role in the research is huge. That is why in IITs and all, even after 40 years also, when they are talking about their research supervisors, tear layer comes into the eyes, because supervisors are more than is sharing my details. She is one of the research scholar working under me. Yes. I think Mr. Daniel, we are done with last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. I'm Dr. Suman.
Yeah, ma'am.
Sir, it was a great pleasure. It's a great pleasure for all of us to listen you, and you simplified research methodology in a very, here we are going to just make a tea.
It is more simple than what I have said, ma'am.
No, sir, it's really it's appreciable work done by you. So most of the time right now we are spending most of the time to attending webinars and other things. So this is the first time I feel ki someone can explain RM in a simple manner.
Thanks to Mr. Daniel, and thanks to God.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, ma'am, for your nice words. Thank you. What is the scope of formal verification in RTL sign-off or SOC verification? Nail on the head. So you asked a question on the area which I am so comfortable, right? What is the scope of formal verification? Not, it's a functional verification, right? Maybe it's a typo error. In RTL, in register transfer logic, we always go for functional verification. You use generally Xilinx and other platforms to do this, or in Spectra, in Cadence, or what Mentor Graphics, Synopsys. There are different platforms using which you will do the functional verification. SOC verification is like LVS, layout versus schematic. I don't say more than that because other listeners may be feeling completely fuzzy. So layout versus schematic is the SOC verification. RTL verification is functional verification. I hope I have given you answer. If it is not clear, please kindly mail back to me. Sir, I have done all research work as per my technical program, but during analysis of result, it was not appropriate. What to do? Who said it is not appropriate? You make it appropriate. It's so easy, right? See, somebody has to tell you that it is not appropriate. You should have the proofs to convince them that it is appropriate. So you must be confident about your work. If a father is not confident about the child's behavior, who else can be? If a research scholar is not confident about his or her work, who else can be? You have to convince. Your analysis is correct. First you listen to that and see to the results. Take it to the knowledge of the supervisor. Discuss with the supervisor. Discuss with doctoral committee members. Take one or two opinions and definitely it can be made appropriate. Don't be demotivated, my friend. Mr. Sunil. Sir, what is the scope of research in low power VLSI design? A lot. Miss Suguna, the scope is a lot. Low power VLSI design, I'll give you one hint before going. You use GMDH algorithm. You use the techniques which are written beyond Gary Reap book. There is a very good book called as Gary Reap on low power consumption in VLSI. Beyond that, you think about it. Artificial neural networks you use into it. Swarm intelligence you use into it. There are many other algorithms. Ant-Conley optimization is one algorithm which I found recently so useful in optimizing various parameters. Ms. Suguna, all the best. It's a good question. Right.
Yeah, I think
Are we going to extend the session?
no, we are going to end up, sir. Thanks for.
Thank you. Thanks.
If you have participants, if you have any more queries, you can mail the professors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please
Thank you
mail.
thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir. Thank you,
Thanks a
sir.
lot. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, professor.
Thank you.